CHIP, Statewide Health Improvement Program through Patrick, was kind enough to come up with some funding for us to do some preliminary engineering. As a result of that, we requested proposals, selected Interstate Engineering to do this work, and now we have the preliminary layout and preliminary cost estimates. This will enable us to further go forward and look for funding for this project. So now I'll turn it over to Randy to explain what we've done to date.
Thanks, Dave. There should be a map in front of everybody. It's just a 11 by 17, the same map that we've got on the board above here. As Dave said, the project would start at the intersection of Wilkin Avenue and Trunk Highway 75, which is right by the Dairy Queen, that area there. Go northerly to terminate somewhere in the neighborhood of the St. Francis Healthcare Campus. That's sort of the final goal, or at least of this phase of a path. That path is about 5,300 feet long. I would provide pedestrian cyclist access the whole way. In addition to access to these, the areas along there would also provide outdoor recreation and exercise to the residents of the area. It does go right by Twin Town Villa, what we're showing here for a path method or location. So it would also serve that facility directly. There were several other alternatives that were discussed at the sort of public meeting that was held in the basement of the church. Those were looked at. We didn't do detailed estimates on it. We did take a look at what some of the good and bad of some of those, and those can be gone in further detail if that's felt like it's necessary. But the reason this was picked as the one to do the estimate on it, first of all, it provides direct access along this way. Second of all, you also have a fair amount of right-of-way along this route already. You have some frontage roads, and even where you don't have frontage roads, you have easements because you have utilities buried right directly behind the highway right-of-way. So it has some positive aspects. Dave and I did get a chance to talk to Jesse Miller with MnDOT about the project, just so that he could give any input that he might have, and they're certainly in support of it in everything but money, I would have to say directly.
Yeah.
They would prefer to see it, for the most part, on your right-of-way wherever possible, but there is certainly the option to talk to them if it becomes difficult to try to get some on their right-of-way. That's done fairly often. One of the projects we're doing similar to this for Otter Tail City is actually going on MnDOT right-of-way. So that is a possibility. And in any case, we will have to cross 210, the right-of-way for 210 at some location. Right in this particular project, we are showing it crossing right at the intersection where everybody is stopped, except for that right turn slip lane.
Free right.
Yeah, which we did include in the estimate the lights necessary to be able to have a pedestrian actuated signal, which would tell people that there's somebody that's there that wants to cross at that location, so that it would be apparent to them. And as I said, it would be pedestrian actuated, so it's not the kind of thing that people would start to forget about, because it would only be going when somebody was trying to actually cross. So we did do the estimate for this path. It would be a 10-foot wide pavement with 2-foot aggregate shoulders on both sides. You're required to have 2-foot shoulders. Their standards are 10 feet and 2-foot shoulders on both sides. We figured the shoulders is aggregate. We also did a cost both for doing it in asphalt and doing it in concrete. Included in both of the costs are such things as the pedestrian path signs, the signs that you need to put on the path so people know that they have to stop and look, and you know, all those other kinds of things that need, and no motor vehicles, and you know, those kinds of signs.
No motor vehicles.
The ones that can be ignored, I suspect, but still are required. There will be a fair amount of markings that'll need to be done wherever we're crossing any of these major driveways and roadways. We'll to mark the program. I did include in the estimates 15% for contingencies because we're in a very early stage on this without any actual survey or any of that final data being done. And I also included allowances for engineering, administrative, and legal costs because I'm sure you're going to have some legal costs as you go forward. Right now everything is just sort of a very general numbers just so that we can get a budget so that some people know, so we know where we're at. For the asphalt path, using those kinds of criteria, the cost, my opinion of cost is $374,000. If we go to concrete, it's another $340,000 more. So that would make it $714,000. So it's a significant difference between the two. I also did get a chance to talk to Shiloh Wall of MnDOT. Kind of MnDOT's one way of doing some of the funding on these is through what's called transportation enhancement. I'm sure you guys maybe have heard of that. They hold a fall workshop where they review the grant requirements and suggestions for getting in, and then they have a committee that ranks the proposals after they're submitted after that workshop. And the ones that are successful, they put on what's called their STIP. I think it's Statewide Transportation Improvement Plan or something like that. That idea anyway. The STIP then would say if you did that, if the Active Living Committee and the council wanted to go forward with it and try to get on the STIP, that would be 2016 project if we applied for that this next time. So it's a fairly lengthy process. You do have the ability to advance construct if you are listed on the STIP, where you could do it if you could pre-fund it, and then when it got to 2016, they would pay you back in accordance with whatever they showed on that. That's what they're saying now, so I just bring it up. I'm not suggesting or anything, but just so you know that that is something that is possible. We haven't, I guess there'll be another meeting with the Active Living Committee to kind of go over some of this same detail. This is information presented to you for you guys' benefits, so you know where we're at, and also because it's a requirement of the agreement that you have that is helping to put the information together. So I guess that's what I have for a presentation. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer.